What's something that you did this year that you didn't anticipate, as in 20 seconds? Did you know you're supposed to use your hand sanitizer for 20 seconds, just like you wash your hands? Yes. What's something in this last year that you did that you didn't anticipate doing when we maybe at March 1st time frame, even a little bit before COVID?
Gosh, I'll be honest. Yeah, I mean, I didn't stop living. I did a lot of what I was always going to do. We may not have gone out to eat a lot of dinners that we otherwise would have, but we recently flew to Key West, so we traveled a little bit. We kept pretty active. And
there you go.
I just kept on chugging along. I mean, I was always very safe, very respectful of everyone else.
It seems like COVID's a density thing too, right? Where as long as there's
right.
Yeah, what I mean by that is the dense cities, where there's a ton of people, things get a little sticky, if you will. And I don't think you were in situations like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
maybe the airplane, but
we didn't go out into bars and rage and that kind of thing. We were always really cautious. We were outside, and but it was good. I mean, looking back, it was fun to. It was nice to have time with family and have game night with kids and those kinds of things.
Yeah, I was surprised at how much, actually, from a business perspective. I mean, I feel like things were pretty much the same. Some things I didn't do in person, but the speaking engagements changed because there wasn't in-person speaking engagements.
Yeah,
but that
we saved a ton of money on our entertainment budget. I can tell you that by not going to concerts and that kind of
stuff is coming back. I've started to get inquiries about Zack Miller getting on stage again.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that stopped. So that was a little different, I guess. But I still did talks, just not to hundreds of people on a stage. I might do it to hundreds of people through a screen. The financial aspect of that has been a little different too, where people are paying a little differently, because I don't think people were grasping what you would pay someone on stage the same way that you would do digitally. That's going to change though, because I think people are realizing there's a financial mechanism for both of that in person, where people attend, but then making money for your fan base online. I think there's a big ticket item there. I worked out a lot more than I thought I would have.
I was going to ask you, what are the things that you're most proud of, or that you look back and, I mean, because we heard so much about 2020 being such a terrible year, but I mean, you and I we try to look at the bright side on a lot of things and not focus on the doom and gloom. And you had a really bright 2020.
Yeah, as I really look at 2020, the only thing that, from a super negative thing that happened, was my dog passed away. That was like the hardest thing ever. Other than that, pretty okay. I was very safe, stayed at home. Losing Ashbrook was probably, that was a hard moment. That was a real hard moment. I got him in school and had him basically by my side every day for 15 years. That was a hard one. But then, you realize that he lived a good life and all that stuff. And, but from a business perspective, I think, you have to constantly innovate and be thinking about stuff like that. I feel like I've lived that for the last decade anyway, where I am constantly like, where am I on this chain? I mean, I'm the guy who likes to do things, get them to their peak, and then retire them so that they don't ever hit that lull. Right. And so, I felt like I sold Startup Night when it needed to. I stopped doing Start Norfolk when I needed to. I got out of the physical space of Hatch when I needed to. Thinking back at some of that stuff, had I not, and I would have been reliant on that, whew.
Right.
So I give kudos to myself, being like, wow, like your money-making things in the past, had you not gotten out of them, you would have been SOL.
Right.
because some of those, state of state of startup community address, that was a big ticket item for me to
And
not, and to have needed that from a financial perspective.
the amount
Oh
of
boy,
time,
that would have been a bad thing to be like, hey, we got to punt that for a year.
right?
That would have been a big one
Yeah.
to lose. Hundreds of people attending that, tons of sponsors involved with that. I mean, that's tens of thousands of dollars, if not six figures of an actual, of an event that's necessary in there. Like that would have been interesting in there. I mean, from a life perspective, I took 2 hours off my Ironman 70.3 time. Super happy about that. Feel like I'm, from a fitness perspective, getting really fit into the world, kind of like I was in high school. So that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, I'm grateful and lucky that I don't really know anyone that's been affected. Super excited about that. And I hope that continues. I think the same for you. We're lucky in that case, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it was strange, just in the sense of there's a lot of times that I would just stay quiet because 2020 was a good year, and I didn't want to come across as braggadocious or.
But I think that is a good thing, period. I think there are things that you can spout out all the time, and there are things that you don't have to. And as aggressive of a loudmouth that I am, I wasn't that loud last year because I didn't necessarily think it was necessary.
Right.
And I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do feel for the people that,
of course,
had a tough time, had a tough go. I mean,
in all facets, right? I mean, I know people who have gotten it.
Yep.
And I know people who have, their people have gotten it, and bad things have happened. Yeah. It's not cool to think about. I mean, it terrifies me, right? Like, with the single biggest thing about COVID that terrifies me is like, okay, like, what happens to me or the people that I care about? Because there's that unknown aspect of it, and I don't like that. That's what scares me. But
yeah, I've been directly involved within our entrepreneurial community for years. And the most common question I get is, Tim, I want to get involved, but I don't know what events I should attend. Well, Startwheel eliminates that pain point because we consolidate all the events you should attend into a single calendar. Now you'll be in the know and see where to spend your time. Gone is the need to search multiple websites and calendars. Just head to startwheel.org and see for yourself. That's startwheel.org.